When you hear of the success of a news and information channel on the TV, those that seem to be singing their own praise are places like GB News and also Talk TV. The latter, reading between the lines, is struggling a bit over the weekend, where it's mainly repeats of the previous week's programmes. So even though they're making their own headlines, they can be expected to do so in a positive light, as it's difficult to think that they wouldn't do negative self-promotion. And we all know why. The mainstream news and information sources just don't tell the viewer or reader the truth on the mainstream. They take an editorial line, and no matter what comes up, if it isn't within these lines, either they omit the information or simply make things up to keep the story going.
Okay.
So many consumers tired of being fed untruths by like the BBC or Sky News in the UK or CNN all over the world, they're going to alternative sources for their information. Ergo, GB News, Talk TV.
Yeah.
Another news channel which isn't getting that much attention from mainland Western Europe and the UK is Russia Today, or RT, as it's now more familiarly known, mainly because the different governments and the EU have blocked RT's signal. But there are people out there who tune in using a VPN. RT's editor-in-chief, Margarita Simonian, on a Chinese news portal, Guansha, said that RT's success came simply. She said Western media, including the BBC and CNN, lied to everyone for so many years that when somebody appeared who told the truth and offered another point of view, we immediately gained a huge audience. She said it was,
Yeah.
People had simply grown tired of them and came to us. She recalled that Serbian filmmaker Emir Kusturica said during an interview after RT International was launched more than 20 years ago that he stopped watching BBC and CNN and switched to RT instead. That's an example of the kind of audience that have been waiting for a different source of information, said the lady. Not the brainwashing that CNN and BBC had subjected people to for decades. But for something fresh, something new with a different point of view, is what she said. We were cut off in the Western world, but our audiences just grew. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not carrying water for RT.
Yeah.
As the lady said, they offer a different point of view, but a point of view nevertheless.
Yes.
So if you see articles on RT, you need to just pull out the information, but leave the editorial to one side.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Al Jazeera, France 24, and NHK World Japan, and Press TV, but to name a few, these are the same sort of outlets, news outlets.
Yeah.
Right? They're a little bit more independent. They get funded by their governments.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a different point of view about the same thing.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is don't limit yourself to one source of information. The age of communication these days is so easy. So broaden your horizons, open your mind, and try to get the full picture of what's going on.
Yep. Okay.
Then.
Well, yes, I mean, it's quite easy. I mean, obviously, you probably spend quite a lot of time doing your research because, yeah, that's one thing you do. And, yeah, you have an interest in it as well. And there always was the old saying, before you form an opinion or say something, or, yeah, use 3 independent sources to confirm or deny. Yeah. And yeah, do some critical thinking. It's like we often do. You often say, yeah, with me sometimes I can't see that myself. Yeah, is expression I use. And it's perfectly valid. If why should I believe I mean, this thing about the BBC, when I was growing up, the BBC were always being called to account for occasionally misrepresenting something or saying something, or they did a documentary, and they were always quite open about it. And oh, we made a mistake. Um, Now it must be quite difficult for them to to admit to the mistakes, because they'd be spending half a day doing it. Yeah, I mean, I watch RTs, like you said. Occasionally articles come up, flash up on my feed, and I go, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the bare facts are there. This happened, blah blah
That's all.
blah blah.
That's
Yeah,
all I want.
yeah. And sometimes they report things that haven't been reported even on the BBC, or that I've seen, or other, even GB News.
Yep.
And you think, oh, that's original, and then it proves that it did happen. You find out
Yep.
3 weeks later sometimes.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now, I mean, okay, we can't all spend or a lot of us, when you've got to worry about going to work and everything else, you're going to just listen to the news in the morning, which was the old-fashioned way of doing it. We didn't used to have 24/7 news. Don't forget, you had the BBC, 10 minutes in the morning. You got your facts. People read a newspaper. In the UK, it was either the Telegraph or the Guardian, or for the commuters. I know some people that used to vote Conservative and still read the Guardian. Yeah, because they like the alternative point of view. And yeah, I think people used to be a little bit more critical about what they believed or didn't believe, but they didn't want to do too much analysis. As you say, today we've got so much information, and yes, there's a lot of it conflicting. To be quite honest, there's actually some websites, some paid, some free, that actually digest, put all these different stories together.
That's right.
And so you can just go to these sites. Some of them you pay for, some of them, like I said, are free. Or you can set up some of your social media, like LinkedIn or others. If you've got LinkedIn, that's quite good. If you link into some news sources there, that will just give you so many different views. I mean, it depends how deep you want to go. But yeah, these sites specifically are designed for people that want to know what's going on, want to critically think. Yeah. Not necessarily understand, because how can we? But yeah, you can then form a judgment on what's right, what you think is right, or what you think is wrong.
The latest, for example, the latest coming out of Russia
mm,
is that petrol is now being rationed,
yeah,
right? And there are fights at petrol stations where people wanted to get the
yeah,
petrol or punching in the queues,
yeah,
things like that. And that Kiev this morning was up in flames
right,
because Russia gave them quite a heavy pounding,
right,
which
yes,
so far as I've seen has not come out in the British press.
mm,
Probably because they're still on about Harry Kane,
yeah,
Andy Burnham, and who was wearing what at Wimbledon.
yeah,
I
yes,
mean, it's great if you think that who was wearing what at Wimbledon, is being a headline, being
yeah,
a headline. It means the rest of your life is quite peaceful.
yeah. And somebody once said to me, the man that opens the sun and gets to the second fold on there, and just sees
Few of
that,
them get past page three.
yeah, is a happy, yeah. The man that doesn't get past page 3 is probably a happy man. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. But it's but like you say, everyone gets the headlines and everything else at the moment. Sometimes I wouldn't say shallow reporting, but yeah, I mean, if you like sport, I mean, I use sport as a diversion from the world around me. Yeah, I like the emotions of watching a football game. Yeah, and then I don't always then listen to all the analysis afterwards, because I've watched that game. I've made
I've
my
watched
own
the game. I
decision.
know what happened. There you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah. I but yes, it's like you say, there's lots of the Roman games, as the emperors used to give the Roman games to the people to divert them from
What's really going on?
Yeah, and throw them some bread and things like this. Yeah, aren't we? All the sponsors did.
Well,
Uh,
Nero would play his fiddle.
well, yeah. Did he do it when Rome burned? Yeah, I know that's the old thing. I, Historians do question that.
What I'm trying to get at,
Uh,
people, is that instead of thinking that uh, these, you could say that Press TV, which is an Iranian
yeah,
television program,
yeah,
is going to be slanted pro-Iranian,
mm,
pro-regime.
yeah,
But you need to understand that because it's coming out of Iran.
yeah, yeah,
NHK is
yeah,
going to say everything about Japan
yeah,
from Japan's political point of view. RT,
mm,
apart from it does give all the facts. I like RT
yeah,
for that.
yeah,
However, it doesn't. It also has its little slants as to
mm,
if they can get a dig in
got you.
at Zelensky,
Yeah,
it will.
yeah, of course.
But in the UK, if it isn't Ukraine that's bombarding, that
Yeah,
sent drones across to Moscow,
yeah,
they don't want to know. When
yeah,
when it's a heavy drone attack on Moscow and it blows up an oil terminal,
yeah,
it makes the front pages.
mm,
When Moscow attacks Kiev
yeah,
and destroys countless warehouses where they're building drones,
yeah.
it's Wimbledon.
Mm. So, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, okay, but we also experience that. Well, I do when I read something in the British press about Brazil. Given that I live here,
Yeah.
and yeah, I can't. I'm not going to start giving examples, but I've actually. I mean, I get some people ask me, "Did you see this, or what do you think of this?" Well, I think it's complete nonsense what they've just written.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not saying the events didn't happen. What I'm saying is what they've written is complete nonsense. And yeah, it's then looking through probably a cultural analysis. You know, Brazil is a totally different culture from Europe in many
Yeah.
ways. Yeah. Um, and yes, you hear the bad things here. You and I walk around our town and yeah, we don't suffer anything. Um,
As
uh,
yet, as yet, I'm
yeah,
waiting.
yeah,
As time goes on, my day of reckoning is becoming nearer and
yeah.
nearer.
I
But
mean,
I've been for 35 years and it hasn't happened yet.
yeah, I won't say what's happened to me, but yeah, but it was in a controlled situation. But yeah, but it's not as lawless as you would read in the media, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so
I don't
okay,
I don't even lock my car when I go to town. I can't be bothered.
yeah,
There's no need to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, I don't have a car to worry about, and I'm quite happy using Ubers. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, but so I suppose the bottom line, the headline here is, so to speak, yeah, use some critical thinking, try and look a bit deeper rather than
And
just
look at the other channels. I've just mentioned 4 or 5.
mm,
RT, NHK,
yeah,
Press TV, Al Jazeera.
yeah,
Give them a chance to. It won't sway your view.
yeah.
At least you'll get another take on what's going on.